Hello.
Hi, welcome to another episode of our podcast, Nothing in My Brain. I'm Olivia.
I'm Joey.
And for today's episode, we're going to be discussing life changes and growing up in general.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to start with life changes. So an example of that is moving. So we've both experienced moving.
Yeah, and I think these life changes can be applicable to everyone because we all experience some life changes or transitions in some way, whether that be through moving, as we just said, like heartbreak or loss of like a family member or just like an opportunity in general. So they can be big or small.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to talk about your experiences moving?
Yeah, so for me, I moved from Texas to California right before high school. And for me, moving was kind of like, for some people, it may not seem like a big deal, but for me, moving had like a lot of personal effects on me. Like, I think it did help me grow a lot as a person moving. So I was kind of like moving from my old life into like this new life, right? And for me, I think moving helped me come out of my shell because when I first moved to California, I basically knew nobody. So I was basically very isolated, like before school started and stuff. And I had to like kind of figure out my own way around here. So what was it like for you when you moved?
Okay, so the same thing. So basically, like, obviously I was like really shy before, kind of still is now. But anyway, like, I think that was really important to me, like, in school, when you move, before you move to a different school, it's like the people that sort of like you make friends with. So like,
Yeah.
for me, like in every social situation, it helps if you have like a person you know, like someone you're friends with, to like help ground you in the conversation. So I think that I am more outgoing and more social when I have people I know like next to me or close to me or participating in the same conversation. So like moving school districts, like I think like moving here, there's like no one I knew, right? So and I had to like start like finding those friends, but it was like hard because I wasn't social because I didn't have any friends. So like like the first steps, like finding like the first person was like a little challenging.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, you know how like you have like a comfort person?
Yeah, it's like
people
yeah,
you're
it's like when
comfortable
you
around.
that person around, then you're like a little bit more outgoing, and without them, you're like kind of shyer.
Yeah, and I think that's like another aspect of moving is just leaving behind all the old things a part of like your old life. For example, one would be like relationships, friendships. You know, when you're moving, you're losing, well, you're not exactly losing the friendships, but you guys are like physically apart. So it's like kind of that loss of connection, you know? And I think that's like really sad, especially.
Yeah.
Especially if you've like lived in an area since you were like a child and these are like childhood friendships. So I think that's like really sad when you move.
Yeah, I think like relationships are like the most important thing in life, and like when you lose like a lot of like those relationships to
The
like, your
family ones are
friends.
still there though.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, but like I think like friendships are really important because I feel like you have like a different relationship compared to like your family and then your friends. Like it's like more like, I guess you can say illegal, like not illegal, but like a lot like less like a lot more chill stuff around like your friends. Like you wouldn't be talking about like TikTok around like your parents, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's like a special like relationship between like your friends that's like unique.
Well, I also think like friendships or social relationships in general, to do with like your friends change as you grow up, which we'll talk about a little bit more later.
Yeah.
And so change in any form, like whether big or small, can affect your mental health, and different people react differently to change. So for like one, there's this trait in these like big 5 traits of personality. There's a trait called openness, which is how adaptable are you to change? Like, are you more of a flexible, like go with the flow type person, or do you think you're kind of like a routinely person where you're not as adaptable to change?
Yeah, I think like when like we moved, like I think my parents were like kind of worried that like we wouldn't like adapt well to like a huge change in like school districts. So when I moved, I was definitely worried, but then I adapted like really quickly, you know.
I think for me, I don't think I'm that open. Like, I don't adapt that quickly because I'm more of like a routinely person. That's in my MBTI.
Yeah.
So when I moved, I was obviously very sad, and I compared. This was like a really bad thing I did, but when I first moved here, I used to compare like everything in California to
Texas.
things I used to have in Texas,
Yeah.
you know? And it's obviously like not very healthy because, as you know, comparison is a thief
'Cause we're
of
better?
joy. No, because comparison is a thief of joy. So like, there's no
Yeah.
need to compare like this new place to the old place you used to live to.
Yeah, well, obviously I didn't have like that much of a difference, but like one thing that helped for me when I was moving was like I'm like a really like sentimental person. Like I'll like hold on to like objects that, like remind me of like things.
Oh, yes.
So when like you're like moving houses, like if like it's like a house like you lived in your whole life, then you're like, oh, like I miss this house. Like I miss houses like bigger and like better.
Yeah.
And like, but honestly, like with me, because I was able to like bring like the most like sentimental things
Yeah.
with me, so it wasn't like that bad, you know. Like it reminded me of home because like it's the same things I had.
Yeah, honestly, like a lot of things in this house are basically things I had in my old house, and
Yeah,
I
that's
still
good.
keep on to like gifts or like stuff from my old, not my old life, but like things my childhood friends have like given me.
Yeah, like I have like birthday cards from my old friends and like the gifts they've given me. So
Yeah, I think like holding on to these things is like definitely more comforting.
yeah, it like helped the transition because it's not like, oh, I don't have this huge part, like this huge part is like missing from my life. It's like things that remind you of them.
Exactly. And another kind of factor that influences how we like adapt to change is from childhood. So like parents. Parents like play a big role in how open you are basically.
Yeah, I just think if your parents exposed you to like changes like a lot as a child, then I think you would be better adapted.
Oh, like
if you
moving
moved
a
a lot as a child, then I think you. It's not. I guess it wouldn't be a good factor in your childhood, like how you turned out, because I feel like stability is important.
Yeah.
But I feel like you wouldn't be this worried in moving.
I also think like there's different parenting styles, you know? So there's like an authoritarian parenting style where they basically like demand obedience and they're very rigid and it's basically not flexible at all. So an authoritarian parenting style can kind of contribute to like fear of taking risks and fear of change because you're so used to like this routinely pattern type of life.
Yeah. And I think like for me, like I told you, like a sample of like not adapting to change really well is like you know how to like I eat the same food for like a long time as a child. Anyway, so like that contributed like me like not adapting to like having new foods. 'Cause, like now obviously I don't eat the same food every day.
Yeah.
But like when I'm traveling, I guess on vacation, and you have to eat like new food because like your parents can't cook for you.
Yes, I know
Then
what
it's
you mean.
hard to like adapt to like the food over there. So
I'm definitely a picky eater. I feel like I stick to foods
ain't
I've
no
already
one more picky than me, bro.
I'm definitely a picky eater.
When I eat eggs, I take out the yolks.
I'm not that picky.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but I was gonna say I don't eat asparagus, mushrooms.
Asparagus, mushrooms, you're all on my daily diet. Because
Yeah.
I ate them when I was little. Ha ha ha.
Because I don't eat healthy. Okay.
Well, I guess you could. Do you like broccoli? Do you like corn?
Yes,
and that's healthy.
I don't like corn. I like broccoli. Anyways,
I hate eggplants. Like I will not touch it.
bro, I've never eaten an eggplant, so.
That's good. Don't.
And I've never eaten bitter melon either.
Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, moving on. So another reason why we're kind of like scared of change is because change comes with the fear of uncertainty. We don't know what's gonna happen, and kind of what we said in our previous episode, we expect the worst basically.
Yeah. So fear of the unknown. So
Yeah,
yeah I know
and we
what you
feel unsafe because we obviously haven't experienced this yet. So, we have like adjustment issues.
mean. Wait. Yeah. So like fear of the unknown. Like what if like you move to like this new school and all the people there are mean and like the teachers are
Yeah.
strict.
And then like, what if you don't have like the same opportunities?
Yeah.
What if it's not as good as?
Yeah.
it
And
was
what if like the
before?
friends don't hit the same? You know, like you can't find like that kind of friend again.
I think that's definitely something I was like worried about.
That like no one would get you. You're like, oh my god, like
Yes.
they're different. different.
And again, you're just feeling like a lot of grief moving away from kind of like your past self to your like newer self. And there's actually like something called adjustment disorder. Well, there's like a bunch of different types, but it's a real thing. So it's
Adjustment disorder.
yeah, it's like people who have like
A hard
especially
time
have-
adjusting.
Yeah, especially have hard time adjusting.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. Like, if I didn't experience change as a child, I would have adjustment issues too. But
Yeah.
I did have, I think I would say changes in my childhood. So that
And
helped.
also, like, the thing with life changes and life transitions in general is that it feels really lonely, you know? You feel like you're kind of going through it by yourself because everyone has a different mental state, obviously, and
Yeah,
everyone
and like
has
a
their own.
support system. So I feel like if you can like talk to your parents about like what's going on
Yeah.
in school, then it would be harder. I think I didn't tell my parents like what was going on in school, but like I think I handled it pretty well. Did you talk to your parents like when you were like moving about like what's happened at
Moving.
school?
I think for me, like I have a sibling, so I think
You,
that like
you
makes
talk to them?
yeah, yes.
That's crazy. No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
So like it's easier to confide in and
Yeah.
like just share what is going on.
Well, my sibling experienced it with me because we're in the same grade.
Yeah, you guys are
so-
twins. So
Whoa!
Um,
Spoiler alert! New information dropped. Okay.
okay,
Continue.
so with change, so how to like kind of cope with change? Because you know some people have trouble like adjusting to change. While you can like look at change in different ways. Some people feel anxious about change, but then there's some people. Well, this is not for all change. Example, like if you just had like a recent loss of a family member, you obviously wouldn't feel excitement. But there's like this anxiety for the change, feelings towards the change versus excitement towards the change. You know, you can have like a more positive outlook on this change.
Yeah, I
So-
think so. Like every change could be like a new opportunity, you know.
Yeah,
Like back then,
for
like
growth as well.
yeah, like it's like more competitive environment, so I could grow along with it, you know. So
Yeah. And change can be good for personal growth because it can help you understand what your goals are and like kind of what you actually want, you know. And also it just kind of tells you what you want to prioritize as well. So, and again, ultimately, like our struggles and changes lead us to where we are now. And even if like the change is unpleasant, there's still gonna be positives and there's still gonna be like something you can learn from it. Let's dive into growing up and just
Okay.
yeah, growing up, our experiences and how we kind of change as we grow.
yeah, so I think like for everyone like change happens like really gradually. So like you don't notice that you change every
Yeah.
single day until like one day you look back and you're like, wow, I'm still short, but I grew as a person. Like you don't
Yeah.
notice it until that actually like a lot happened, and then you're like, wow.
So
Yeah.
do you kind of feel like fear of growing up or are you more excited to grow up? Because
Honestly, like I can't imagine myself being old.
I think for me, when I was younger, I used to be like excited about growing up. You know?
Really?
Yeah, I used to be excited. I used to really want to be in high school. I
Wow.
was like,
How do you feel now?
so I used to be like, whoa, the high school kids, right? Like, it's so cool, and you get to like drive, you get to have like your own freedom, basically. And I was like, you get your own phone as
Wait,
well.
honestly, I think it like that now. Like I want to be like in like graduate college so I can be independent, you know.
Oh,
'Cause,
like free.
Yeah, because like now you gotta like I guess we kind of are like kind of more independent compared to when we were like kids, but like I don't feel
You don't feel as
free.
independent.
Yeah, so
So I feel like I was gonna say now that I am in high school, I feel like scared. Well,
yeah,
I still feel
scared.
like a little bit excited about growing up, but like sometimes I do like get that feeling of like, oh, you know, like I never know what's gonna happen in my future, and I'm like kind of scared to grow up as well because I'm like, what if when I grow up, my life isn't as good as it is right now, you know?
Yeah, well, the thing about me is like I want to figure out like who I am, you know, and to
Yeah.
be that you kind of have to be like separated from like your identity ties right now, because like now like you have like your mom, your parents, like your siblings, and like your friends at school. But like, what if like you cut them all and you try to like figure out who you are without your relationships? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
move to like an entirely like new country. You figure out well, not country, I guess, like state, town, and then you figure out who you are like separate from what you already was. You know, like if that makes sense. Like you're creating like a new not identity, but a
Yeah,
new
this has-
perception of who you are.
Yeah, this has to do with like Erickson's psychosocial development stages. You know, his stage basically this is adolescence, where we're basically in this identity versus role confusion type of stage. So kind of what you said, we're
Yeah,
finding
so
who
like
we
now
are.
like our roles are like student, child,
Yeah.
sibling. Like what if you were like to cut all those ties and like figure out who you are, you know, like how like people like move to the woods and you're like, I'm doing self-reflection. Like I want to
Yeah.
do that, but like creating new like roles and identities for myself.
And I mean, you're bound to change anyways. You know, you're
Yeah,
gonna
but
like,
I'd rather do that like being in my parents' basement, you know, like I just like want to move out, you know,
oh yeah.
find my own way in the world.
I think like as we grow up, we're like seeking autonomy from our parents.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why like as we grow up, we tend to also focus more on social relationships. Kind of like I saw this video the other day, and it was like we watched Inside Out 1 with our parents, but
Yeah.
we watched
Inside
Inside
Out
Out
2 alone with our friends.
Yeah, have
Yeah.
you seen that?
Because, okay, spoiler alert, you have to listen to this because that's what happened. Like in Inside Out 2, did you watch Inside Out 1?
Yeah, I watched.
There's like the family island, right?
Yes.
It got replaced by Friends. The
Yeah,
Friends Island.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so anyway, when I was like little, I'm pretty sure like our parents like chose like a lot of things for us, you know, like where we live, like what school we study, like what we want to,
And they
Well,
like
no,
kind
I
of
wanna-
chose what we
yeah,
needed to do.
extracurriculars to do,
Yes.
you know, like lessons, stuff
Mhm.
like that. And it's like not necessarily what we want to do, like not what we're good at. So I think that there was like sort of like a, I guess, I mean, obviously we appreciate it, you know, like
Yeah,
we
like-
need the skills,
Mhm.
we need like the experience, but I think like
Now
if,
that we're
like,
older, we get
yeah.
to choose.
you get to, and like maybe like your parents don't want you to, so they forbid you from doing it. So now that's an issue because then they prevent you from figuring out who you are because they are kind of in charge of you still right now, because they are your legal guardians
Yeah.
and they do have a responsibility of choosing what you can or can't do.
And for me, like, I don't know, ever since COVID hit, life has been flying by like so fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like before COVID, it seems like the years were like so long.
Exactly.
Can you believe it's been 4 years since
That's
COVID?
actually crazy. Like, I
Time
cannot comprehend
flew.
that. Exactly, and I saw as you grow older, like life is supposed to go faster anyways, because like you're processing less things apparently in your brain.
Yeah.
But like still, that's crazy. How right now we're in high school, and then in like what 2 years
2
we'll be
years.
graduating, and that's like actually crazy because then we'll be in college, and then that's when like kind of adulting starts.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy.
And you're gonna make your own way, and like I am excited for that part, but I'm also like anxious about it because then it's
Yeah.
like you have to
So-
pay your own bills, you have to pay your own rent, and then there's like make your own food, like bro.
So you have like someone to lean on basically.
Yeah, it's like if there's a backup plan, like so you can experiment, you can be free, but I guess you can be free with like what you do, like because you have like something to fall back on, you know, like
Exactly.
if
You
this
don't
doesn't go
have-
well, mom, help, you know.
Yeah, and you don't have like these responsibilities as well.
Yeah, it's like you don't face the repercussions because you're a minor. Like you're not
Exactly.
responsible for yourself yet.
Like I low-key kind of relate to Peter Pan right now. You know how Peter Pan was in
No,
I forgot what land he was in.
Neverland.
Yes, Neverland. And he didn't want to grow up.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little bit of me right now. Obviously, I'm still excited to like try new things as I grow up because there's so much more.
Yeah, but it's harder
you
to
can
like try new
experience.
things as you grow up. It's like confusing because like you want to grow up to try new things, but when you try new things as you grow up, you're responsible for yourself. So like you can't really try.
You know there's consequences.
Okay, so like maybe let's like take it back to like our childhood, like and how we changed through time, like when we were a child.
Do you want to start for like kind of how you developed as a child? Because I think mine might be similar.
Okay, so I think when I was little, because I have my brother, you know, so we did everything together. Like I was like with him like 24/7. I'm not even kidding. We had the same class. We had like the same
Oh,
like
dang.
after school. So and we went back home and we were still in the same house, obviously, and we like had the same room. We didn't have like the same room, but we did. So we
Yeah.
basically spent like 24/7. We played together. We read together. We went everywhere together. So that obviously gave me issues because now I'm like the anxious avoidant attachment style. It's like this is the person that I've latched on for my life, and like so I would like rely on him for like a lot of things, especially in like social situations where I told you I would like push him in the door
Oh,
because
you
I
told me
didn't
that.
because I didn't want people to like stare at me. So yeah, I sacrificed it
Yeah.
to the eyes and like there, you go 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So you know like. And then like when like things like got like a little bit like anxious, I would just like look at him and I'm like, oh, like there he is. Like he's like my backup plan, you know. Like if I didn't have anyone to talk to, I'm just gonna go talk to him. So like that's the person I latched on. And then when you grow up, you can't do that anymore. So you need to find your own way in the social situations that I was in. So that was pretty bad.
Okay, I think mine's not that similar.
I guess unless you have like an imaginary twin.
But like I think I've told like a bunch of people this before, but when I was younger, I used to be very, very shy. Like I think
You
this
weren't
was
as shy as I was because they thought I didn't speak English. They're like,
no, you haven't heard it yet.
oh wait, no, you did tell me. Like they thought you
like
couldn't
in
speak English.
this was in
either.
okay, to be fair, this was in like preschool. Either in preschool or kindergarten, so it was like a really long time ago. But basically, they thought I couldn't speak English because I wouldn't talk.
Same though.
I would only talk to the teachers. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't even talk like the teachers who I was scared of. I'm like afraid of like authority figures.
Oh.
I can't do that.
I wouldn't talk to any of the other kids. Like, of course, I had my close friends, but outside of them, I talked to no one else. So, first of all, they thought I was mute. Like, and they also thought I couldn't speak English.
Wait, you know what my issue was? Was like I didn't have like a close friend because my brother was my close friend, and so I didn't know anyone else. It was like he was like everywhere I went, so I didn't have to make new like other friends. You know, I had friends, but like, not like close friends. You know, like it's like me and my brother sat in the same table, so then it's like that's my friend. Like that's the only friend I need.
Oh.
And then like when I couldn't do that anymore, it's like hard because you like now you have to like figure out how to make friends like later in life than most people. So like everybody had their way of making friends and they already did that, but I was late, so
Okay, I get
that
what
was
you mean.
not good. So that was that.
I moved, well, I used to like live in California and then I moved to Texas when I was like still pretty young. But I think it was then that I kind of came out of my shell because I wouldn't say I was like super extroverted, but I definitely talked a lot more. And I think now, I think back then I was like really scared of what people thought about me, you know? I was like super, I don't know if I was like super self-conscious or I just had really low self-esteem. But now I feel like I kind of have more confidence in myself.
So I guess you were progressing at like a faster speed than I was, because like now it's when I start to feel like self-conscious and like I start going out to my shell. Because like in COVID, like before COVID, like that was terrible. Like that was me with like I had like really close friends. Like I think I had like 3 best friends, but the thing was I couldn't talk to like anyone. You know, like my brother was like the cool kid, I guess, that he had friends, and then I was like, my friends are like my life, but like I'll cling on to them through like elementary school, you know.
But also like when you age, apparently social relationships get better when you age. Like although your group becomes significantly like smaller, you have higher quality relationships because they've been with you like through this time, you know.
This traumatizing time you trauma bonded together.
No. But like the quality of the relationships is much more deep. It's not like shallow.
Yeah, I think like as in like as a child, it was just like who you play tag with, like who you
Yeah, maybe something
sat together. Like it was
Yeah.
just like really trivial relationships, you know. I think we just talked about like Harry Potter. We talked
Harry
about
Potter.
like weird like irrelevant stuff, and like now I think like the way that like I make friends now, it's like you do activities together.
Okay, so for me, each year, like as I grow up, I sometimes compare my Christmases. Okay, I know this might not be like a common thing, but like you know how like when you were little and Christmas still had
Oh,
like
I
that
have
magic?
stories for you, but you go on. I have something to say about
Yeah,
that,
so
but
like
you go on.
I used to be really excited to like open up the presents, or I used to like also go on vacation during Christmas. So I used to be like always super excited about that. But like now during Christmas, I don't like really feel anything. Obviously, I'm like grateful for everything I have, but like it's not, the excitement isn't there or the magic isn't there. But like sometimes for me, I think birthdays is when I reflect, you know? Sometimes this might just be me. I just
Wait,
like
yeah.
contemplate a lot on
You know,
my
I
birthday.
forget like I've like done my journal like every single birthday. I write in my journal like this is my 16th. I didn't write it this year. Oops, I forgot. Anyway, but I would write like what happened like in that one year that passed between like the
Yeah,
birthdays.
I would write about like what just happened
then, like
in this whole year.
like how I perceive my future.
Exactly.
Right now.
I would
And it's,
like think about my future. I'm like, wow, I'm getting
yeah,
so
it's
old.
like what changed and like what didn't. I guess.
Exactly. So the fear of growing up or growing up in general, again, it has to do with like the uncertainty of like the future. And because like life has so many possibilities, we don't know like what we want to do yet. You know how people always ask you, what do you want to do when you grow
See,
up?
I have something to learn about that too. You know, when you're little and you say, "Oh, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a farmer," people don't hold you to that. You know, like you're like,
Yeah.
"This kid's really cute. Like she wants to be a princess. Like that's really cute. Like you have no responsibility. You can say anything you want as a kid. You can say anything,
That's true.
anything. You can say I want to be
They'll
an
think it's
alien, and they'll be
funny.
like, "Oh, it's cute. I want to be homeless." You're like, "Oh, ha, that's really funny." But now you're held to like a certain degree of like
Accountability.
accountability. Yeah. So like now if you say, "Oh, I want to be blah blah blah, I want to be an astronaut," like people are gonna be like, let's watch her be an astronaut. And if you like do something else, you're like, this girl has no sense of direction. Like she changes careers like it's nothing. Like she has no, I guess, responsibility, accountability to her words. So like, and then like also like if you say that you want to be like a history professor or like something, they'll be like, this girl, like she has no ambition. She has no, I guess,
I feel like there's people that like I feel like people put a certain pressure that you have to choose what you want to do, even though we haven't explored so many.
And they don't like comprehend like this is the career that you're gonna do for the rest of your life, for the rest of like your life.
Like, of
like
course
I
I'm
think
gonna
that
change.
I think that you're underthinking if you think of your careers like this quick. And there's some
Exactly.
people who like I think like especially like athletes, like when they're little, they're like, oh, I want to be like an athlete. I want to be an Olympic when they grow up, and like that's good on them. Like they are different. They're both different. But I think for me,
Like I
there's
know.
just like nothing. It's like
Wait,
what
I
do
know
you
for
wanna be?
me,
I don't
there's
know.
so many things I haven't like explored yet, so I wouldn't know what I
Exactly.
want
That
to do.
that too. It's like I want to be an astronaut. How do you know? You've never experienced being an astronaut. You've never met an astronaut. Like how are you supposed to like know? You know? Like how do you expect me to choose before I know what's happening? You know?
And I think, again, related to like the uncertainty of the future, we all kind of like want this perfect life, you know? And this kind of like relates to this book I saw. I haven't read it yet, but it was like trending on BookTok.
You haven't read it yet.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but I know it was trending on BookTok.
Okay.
But there was like this book called The Midnight Library. Do you know it? Anyways, I think it's this about this girl named Nora, and basically she's chasing after this perfect life. I think she's in a library, and each book is like in a different alternate reality or something.
Yeah, it's like the fig tree, like the
It's like
silver
the fig, yes, it's like the fig tree analogy. And basically, after exploring all these different pathways, she's realizing there is no perfect life, you know?
I guess there is no perfect like fairy tale like story for everyone's life, you know.
Okay, thank you guys for listening to this episode.
Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.